Welcome back. This is Delivery 2. So you should have already watched Delivery 1, which is more on the basics of delivery. This one's going to talk a little bit more about how to address some of those problem areas of delivery and engage your audience a little bit more. So let's take a look. So here we have a student who I'm actually going to show you first what he did in the beginning of class. Not because I'm trying to highlight any of that, but just look at his legs and how he's shifting around. This is very common, and I just want to give you all a chance to think through how you might get over that. So take a look at him now, right? This is by the end of the semester. First off, he's locked his legs a little bit, but more importantly, because locking his legs wouldn't work for the whole time, he starts to take a couple of steps. Ideally, even another step than that would be good for him. But you know what? He's about to do even more, so keep watching. So he's going to move all the way to the other end of the slide. He's trying hard not to keep his back to the audience. We can work on that together. That was a pretty good start. And now he's actually walking you down the actual slide. When you move about the space like he did, you are, one, going to reduce the amount of shifting you're going to do on your legs. Two, you're more interesting for your audience, right? Because they're kind of following you along. And three, you're doing everything. You're pointing to the slide, you're using your hand gestures more, you're avoiding the shifting. Ideally, if you're using your visuals correctly, you actually improve your eye contact. So there is a lot that you can accomplish with movement. And this student is a perfect example of that, and I encourage you to try some of that for yourself. So this next clip is actually about punching certain parts of your visual a little bit more so that your main points are also broadcasted on the slide and kind of animated at the same time that you're talking. It's a great way to add energy, and again, for someone who, if you're finding that you are a little bit more lower energy and you're trying to figure out ways to do that, this student did a good attempt in trying to show that, and I want you to take a look. Especially if you look at the right screen, you'll be able to see that she animates 3 particular words as she's actually trying to say them. Now, everyone has their own personality. You've got to be able to do this in ways that work for you, but I just want to give you some ideas on how this might work on your side.
Clearer. So, our solution will take us there. Through events, physical stores, and the storytelling of suppliers, we can effectively create a more intimate, interactive, and connected experience for our consumers.
So this student shows video as a way of engaging the audience, but the one thing I will say is that sometimes that doesn't always land, right? So one of the things I want you to think about is as you're showing video, maybe turn off the sound and actually narrate what they're looking at. That way you're still talking while the audience can actually focus on the video itself. Works really well. Of course, you can also just show a video, and a lot of times that is quite engaging to an audience. But in these types of presentations, I've noticed 2 things. One, oftentimes people show video for way too long. If you have a 10-minute presentation and you're showing a minute and a half of video, you're kind of taking out any kind of speaking time to make your overall point. And 2, I've noticed that people use video oftentimes to show an audience what they already know. And so that's another area to just think about, is that the video you should be showing should be making a point that is your overall point that's connecting to your overall message. So again, that's why I just said narrating over video or talking through it can sometimes be a very good way of kind of getting your point across while still being visually appealing. So 2 more quick thoughts on this. It doesn't just have to be a video, and I want you to see, I'm just going to show screenshots. This student actually drew. He was using a marker and drew on the board. Super effective in just changing it up a little bit and getting people to pay attention. And this student actually used the screen almost like it was a computer, and he walked the audience through essentially a whole set of functionality right there on the screen. Really helpful, again, if you're showing something that's technical in nature or something that's more of a platform or something that's on the computer, and having the user actually visualize what it is that they're actually clicking through and going through. All things to consider. I can't talk about this next one enough. The more you actually walk to a slide and physically touch it, the more you're engaged with the content, the more your audience is following your hand, the more your hand is gesturing, the better of a chance you have to look at the slide for a brief moment while you're trying to remember what your point was. It all comes together, and this student does a particularly good job. Notice that she's actually touching the slide, you're following what she's doing, and actually the slide is literally making her move, it's making her gesture, it's making her point, and it's keeping the audience focused on exactly what she wants you to know.
So we're proposing that you should do
Touch the slide. Again, the more you do that, I think the better. So I'm going to stay on the student a little longer and talk about audience participation as well. One thing I think we forget to do is to remember that even if our audience is like an executive audience or somebody higher up than you, right, they get bored too. We have the opportunity in this class and in your presentations that you do in real life to engage with them, give them something to do, like during the actual presentation, and the student does a pretty good job of showing a prototype of an app that they've made.
And we actually have a prototype for you today to try out kind of what Unilever is doing. Since we don't have access to your Instagram, we made a Humans of Unilever. So if we go on and we first click on the top.
So you get the idea. She is now telling the audience how to use the app through the visual. Works really well. So again, move around, animate your visuals, show a video, interact with your slides, and use audience participation. These ideas will better engage your audience and add more energy to your presentation. Thanks for watching.